You know that feeling when you're scrolling through social media and it seems like everyone else has figured it out? Sarah just got promoted, Mike's traveling through Europe, Jessica's getting married, and here you are. Still in the same job, same relationship status, same life that felt temporary 2 years ago, but somehow became permanent. And then comes that voice in your head, what's wrong with me? Why is everyone else moving forward while I'm stuck in place? You start making lists of all the things you should be doing, all the changes you should be making, all the ways you should be better by now. But here's what nobody tells you about feeling stuck. The reason you're not moving forward has nothing to do with your capability, your worth, or your potential. And it has everything to do with something much simpler that nobody wants to admit. First, let's get something straight. That thing you call everyone else moving forward, half of it is an illusion and the other half is incomplete information. Social media has turned life into a highlight reel where everyone posts their wins but rarely their struggles. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's carefully curated public moments. It's like comparing your rough draft to someone else's published book. But even beyond social media, we have this tendency to notice other people's external changes while being completely unaware of their internal battles. That friend who seems to have everything together, they might be struggling with anxiety every single day. That colleague who got the promotion, they might be working themselves into burnout trying to prove they deserve it. The truth is, everyone is figuring it out as they go. There's no secret manual that some people got and others didn't. There's no timeline that everyone else is following while you fell behind. Life isn't a race where some people are naturally faster runners, but here's where it gets interesting. While you're busy comparing your progress to everyone else's, you're missing the real reason you feel stuck, and it's not what you think it is. The reason you're not moving forward isn't because you're lazy, incapable, or behind schedule. It's because you're trying to move in too many directions at once, which creates the illusion of being stuck when you're actually just scattered. Think about it. How many different areas of your life do you think need immediate improvement? Your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, your personal growth, your social life, your living situation. The list goes on, and here's what happens when you try to fix everything at once. You end up fixing nothing. Your energy gets diluted across so many different goals and aspirations that none of them get enough sustained attention to actually create change. It's like trying to dig 10 holes at the same time instead of digging one hole deep enough to find water. You'll wear yourself out moving dirt around, but you won't actually get anywhere meaningful. Most people who feel stuck aren't actually stuck. They're overwhelmed by their own ambitions. They have so many ideas about who they could become and what they could do that they're paralyzed by choice and scattered by effort. But there's another layer to this, and it's probably the most common reason high-potential people stay stuck. Perfectionism disguised as high standards. You don't start because you don't have the perfect plan. You don't take action because the timing isn't ideal. You don't make changes because you can't guarantee the outcome. You're waiting for all the variables to align perfectly before you make your move. But here's the thing about perfectionism. It's not actually about doing things well. It's about avoiding the discomfort of imperfection, uncertainty, and potential failure. It's a sophisticated form of procrastination that feels noble because it's wrapped in the language of excellence. Meanwhile, the people who seem to be moving forward, they're not moving because they have perfect plans or ideal circumstances. They're moving because they're comfortable with messy action, imperfect beginnings, and figuring things out along the way. They understand something that perfectionist thinkers miss. Progress doesn't require perfection. It just requires consistency in an imperfect direction. Here's another trap that keeps people stuck. Waiting to feel ready. You tell yourself you'll start that business when you have more money saved, more skills developed, more connections made. You'll change careers when you have more experience, more confidence, more certainty about what you want. But readiness is a myth. Nobody ever feels completely ready for significant change. The people who seem ready are just people who decided to act despite not feeling ready. Think about any major transition in your life. Starting school, your first job, moving to a new city, beginning a relationship. Did you feel ready for any of them? Probably not. You figured it out as you went along, and that's exactly how forward movement works. The feeling of readiness doesn't create action. Action creates the feeling of readiness. You become ready by doing, not by preparing to do. Here's something that might be the most important insight in this entire video. Most people who feel stuck are actually spending enormous amounts of energy staying stuck. Think about how much mental energy you spend comparing yourself to others, questioning your choices, planning changes you don't implement, feeling guilty about where you are versus where you think you should be. All of that energy could be redirected toward actual forward movement. It's like having a car with a fuel leak. The engine is running, you're pressing the gas pedal, but most of your fuel is draining out the bottom instead of propelling you forward. The problem isn't your engine or your ability to drive. It's where your energy is going. Most of your mental and emotional energy is probably being drained by overthinking decisions instead of making them, managing other people's expectations instead of your own priorities, trying to optimize plans instead of executing imperfect ones, avoiding discomfort instead of moving through it, seeking permission instead of taking responsibility. When you plug these energy leaks, you suddenly have fuel available for actual forward momentum. Here's what changed everything for me, and what I see work for others. Stop trying to transform your entire life and start transforming one specific area with single-point focus. Pick one thing, not 3 things, not 5 things, one thing. The area of your life that, if it changed, would create positive ripple effects in other areas. For some people, that's their physical health. For others, it's their financial situation, their living environment, or their primary relationship. But here's the key. You don't pick the thing that needs the most work. You pick the thing that you have the most energy and motivation to actually change right now. Because momentum in one area creates momentum in other areas. Success breeds success. When you prove to yourself that you can create change in one area of your life, you start believing you can create change in other areas too. But it has to start with one area where you can build that evidence for yourself. The people who seem to be moving forward in all areas of their lives, they usually started by moving forward in one area and then expanded from there. They didn't try to revolutionize everything simultaneously. The difference between people who move forward and people who stay stuck often comes down to this. People who move forward take small actions consistently. People who stay stuck make big plans occasionally. Small actions compound over time in ways that big plans rarely do. A small daily action creates a habit, which creates momentum, which creates results. A big plan creates initial excitement, then overwhelm, then abandonment when reality doesn't match the fantasy. The person who reads for 20 minutes every day will end up reading more books than the person who plans to read for 3 hours every weekend, but only follows through half the time. The person who walks for 30 minutes daily will get in better shape than the person who plans intense workout sessions they rarely complete. This is why everyone else seems to be moving forward while you're not. They're taking consistent small actions in one direction while you're making ambitious plans in multiple directions. But here's the deepest level of why people stay stuck. They're trying to change their circumstances without changing their identity. They want different results while maintaining the same story about who they are and what they're capable of. If you identify as someone who starts things but doesn't finish them, you'll unconsciously sabotage your progress to maintain that identity. If you see yourself as not the type of person who gets promoted, you'll behave in ways that confirm that belief. The people who seem to effortlessly move forward have done something crucial. They've changed their identity first, then aligned their actions with that new identity. Instead of saying, "I want to get in shape," they start identifying as someone who prioritizes their health. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," they start identifying as someone who takes consistent action toward their goals. This identity shift is what makes action feel natural instead of forced. When your actions align with your identity, you're not fighting against yourself anymore. You're just being who you are. The question isn't, what do I need to do to change? The question is, who do I need to become? And what would that person do in this situation? Everyone else isn't moving forward because they're special, lucky, or more capable than you. They're moving forward because they stopped waiting for perfect conditions and started taking imperfect action in one specific direction. If you're ready to stop feeling like you're behind and start creating forward momentum, drop this in the comments. I choose progress over perfection. Because that's all it takes. Choosing to move imperfectly instead of staying stuck perfectly. Your life isn't behind schedule. You're not running out of time. You haven't missed your chance. You just need to pick one thing, start where you are, and prove to yourself that you can create change. Everything else will follow from there.